A pivot table is great for summarizing data, and usually we use it to show a simple sum or maximum for a value. Here we have the total units sold in 3 different regions over a 3-week period. Instead of showing a simple sum, we can change the calculation that's used for these totals. So if I right-click on one of the total cells, click Show Values As, here are all the ways we could show that. Right now we're using no calculation, so it's just a sum. But instead, we could use difference from. In this dialog box, I can see the base fields that are in the pivot table. So date is selected, region is the other option, but we want to use date and see how things change week over week. For the base, we don't want to compare everything to the sales on September 2nd. We'd like to compare each week to the week before it. So from this drop down, I'll click on Previous and click OK. And now instead of those totals, we can see the values that are the change from week to week. So for the central region, sales went down the 9th of September. If I hide one of the weeks, so if I uncheck the 9th of September, now we're going to compare the 16th to the previous date that's showing in the pivot table. So the change was an increase of 608 for the central region. I'll put it back. So it's comparing not to the previous week in the original data, but to what's visible in the pivot table. When we changed the calculation here, it removed our original totals, but we could have 2 instances of the units field in here. It's already checked in the field list, so I can't just check it to add it, but I can drag the units field down into the values area. So now I have sum of units and sum of units 2. For the sum of units 2, it's showing our original totals, and the sum of units is the change. To make things easier to understand, I could put a different title just by typing in here. I could put units change, and then it's easier for people to understand what that number represents. It may be hard to read the pivot table if you've added multiple value fields, and now it's spread across. You might want to rearrange some of the fields so that the orientation is more vertical. So for regions, instead of having it as a column label, I could drag it down below the date. And now for each date, you can see the region name, the total units sold, and the change overall and the change per region. For more Excel tips and tutorials, and to download the sample file for this video, please visit my website at www.contextures.com.